Good morning, Hope family, and welcome to another devotion that we have as Hope Church. This morning we'll be looking at Psalm 6, and this is a psalm which is a prayer for deliverance. And I think at a time like this, with the coronavirus, I think the need for deliverance is obvious to anyone. But I think if you were me, not just this coronavirus that has brought crisis or has brought um, problems or pain in your life, that some of us had problems before the virus came, that some of us are going through other issues and problems during this virus that are not connected to the coronavirus. And some of us, even after this virus, we know that there are still many problems that are waiting for us. Whether those problems being financial problems, which this coronavirus is going to even make it bigger, whether it be not just financial, that we may be having relational problems, that many relationships that have broken down, that are just hard, whether with our spouses, with our family, friends, at work, or some it's health, whether our own health that is really has been challenging and deteriorating for a while, or the health of our loved ones. And as people are looking forward to, fortunately or hopefully, when this lockdown is lifted at the end of the month. But some of us, you are in terror because you know the problems that are facing you after this, that we have to face them now after this lockdown. So there's not even peace for you as you think about that time and when you have to face these problems. And I felt like this psalm is so helpful for us as we see David himself going through tough times, and we see his prayer to God. And my hope this morning is that we can learn something about how to pray to God for deliverance when we are faced with troubles. I'll read for us Psalm 6, beginning verse 1. Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger. Do not discipline me in your wrath. Be gracious to me, Lord, for I am weak. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are shaking. My whole being is shaken with terror. And you, Lord, how long? Turn, Lord, rescue me. Save me because of your faithful love. For there is no remembrance of you in death. Who can thank you in Sheol? I am weary from my groaning. With my tears I dampen my bed and drench my couch. Every night my eyes are swollen from grief. They grow old because of all my enemies. Depart from me, all evildoers, for the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. The Lord has heard my plea for help. The Lord accepts my prayer. All my enemies would be ashamed and shake with terror. They will turn back and suddenly be disgraced. I want us to make few observations. I won't go into deep details in this psalm. Just few details that really come and jump out to me. That the psalmist begins with an appeal to God, and in verse 1 and 2, the one appeal that is on the negative and positive. And David says, Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger. Do not discipline me in your wrath. Be gracious to me, Lord. And as I say that, where David, whatever is going through, is going through in his life, that he sees that the right place to bring his prayer, the right person who can rescue him from the situation is God. And then it comes God saying, Christ and God, whatever you're saying, that do not rebuke me, do not discipline me in anger in what he's doing. And we know also in Christ, James and Peter talks about how we should view any hardships that we're going through as God disciplining us. And so David sees that. Notice it says that when I'm looking at the word rebuke, usually the rebuke you associate with something that you have done something wrong. And sometimes, whether David is aware of a particular sin that he has done that has brought him this or not, And so in our life, sometimes we can do things that bring us harm, that we cause it ourselves. Yet David, even if that's the case, he is not discouraged to say, I'm going to take this thing up to God, recognizing that God is the one who is sovereign, who is in control over his problems. And he's asking him to be gracious to him. And he's saying that in this talk about his state, how the gravity of his problem. He says, for I am weak. He says, my bones are shaking. My whole being is shaken with terror. And he cries to God saying, how long? So this has been going, Lord God, has been going. When is it going to stop? When are you going to bring a stop to it? Verse 4 it says, rescue me, rescue my life, deliver me from my life. Verse 6, talking further about the gravity of his problem, says, I am weary from my groaning. With my tears I dampen my bed and drench my couch every night. So this pain has been going for long and has been unending. And if sometimes when you are in pain, you want to go to sleep so that you can just write off the day and start afresh the next day. And David says, even at night, I don't even get the pleasure of sleeping. It says, my tears are the ones that accompany me when I go to sleep. That's how much pain has been. And he's taking that, he's saying that to God, and appeals that to God, and says, God, be gracious to me, rescue me from all this. Same thing that I also want us to see is the basis why is saying, second basis why is David taking this prayer to God. Not only that he recognizes God is sovereign, he has control over his life, but also it says the basis or the confidence why he can take it to God. In verse 4 it says, 10, Lord, rescue me, save me because of your faithful love. So David is not going to God because he thinks he's alright, he's a righteous guy, he's better than most. So God, hear what my cry, hear my problem, but he's basing it on God's faithful, steadfast love. And we just came from Easter now, and we have seen that the climax of that love when Jesus gives up his life on the cross for us as God's expression of love for us. And should be grateful, and for certainly I am where I know that the basis in which I can come to God in confidence is not based on my righteousness. But some days with me or weeks that you can see that if I would give my relationship a rating out of 10, I would give myself 2.5. So it would be hard for me to go to God on the basis of how committed I've been in following Him. But I can go to Him with confidence on the basis of God's love for Him, for me, and so His faithful love. And David says, rescue me because of your faithful love. And third thing that I want us to notice, it's David's confidence that his prayers has been heard. Look with me, verse 8. It says, depart from me, all evildoers, for the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. The Lord has heard my plea for help. The Lord accepts my prayer. All my enemies will be ashamed and shake with terror. So David is certain of that although this thing has been going for long, but yet when he comes and prays, he is certain that God hears his prayer. And the Bible tells us how God says his ears are attentive to the righteous, that God promises to hear us. And Jesus calls us, says, go and ask to the Father, ask anything to the Father in my name. So comes and knows that God has heard me. And in our prayer, and also I would like us to encourage us to know that in the issue and the problems that we have, no matter how long they have been, no matter how hard they seem, that when we bring it up to God, that we may be certain that God has heard our prayers, that in His right time, that God will act decisively. And here, verse 10 talking about, it says, all my enemies will be ashamed and shake with terror. Verse 2, David was the one who was shaking with terror, but there will come a time where God will turn that upside down, and then his enemies will be the one who are shaking with terror. Usually there's a cliche that people always saying that people always say where it says God is bigger than our problems. I don't like cliches, but that statement is true. That God is powerful and will overcome and help us to overcome all our problems in His time. But we have to be confident and take them to Him, and He will listen to us. Amen. I hope you enjoy your day. Goodbye.